Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Chairperson ma'am. Good afternoon, Shiva ma'am. Good afternoon, all teachers and my dear students. Today, I welcome you all for a science webinar. I hope, children, you are aware what is a webinar. Children, webinar means any seminar that is conducted online. So when you conduct a seminar online, you must have attended many seminars, but due to this COVID situation, you have got an opportunity to attend a webinar and learn a new word, I believe. As Chairperson correctly said, we Indians find positivity in anything that is negative. So yeah, we have got a new terminology to learn, that is webinar, right? And we might have attended many seminars earlier, but this COVID situation has given us an opportunity to attend a webinar. So I welcome you all to today's webinar, and I believe that we all are going to learn something new. Uh, as ma'am correctly said, science is something that has to be done practically. So science is everywhere, children. I hope you all agree with me that science is everywhere. So today we teachers have designed some activities that you can perform at your home. You don't have to go out and search for things. Simply taking up materials that are available at your home, you can do some activities and learn the concept of science. So I hope you all will enjoy the session. And as I begin, the plan for today is Ms. Pushpa, will be explaining you about adulteration and will be doing some activities based on adulteration. Pooja Sharma ma'am will be demonstrating you some activities based on acid-base indicators and combustion. Whereas our physics faculty, Ms. Gurleen madam, will explain you about atmospheric pressure, and she will show you some activities that are based on atmospheric pressure. So let us begin, children. I hope you all are ready. Himani ma'am, please show the next slide. So children, what is adulteration? You might have heard this term earlier. What is the word adulteration? And many of you all must be aware that adulteration means adding something unwanted to the food items so that its quantity is increased. Mind my word, children, here I say quantity. So there are people who add unwanted materials, the materials that may also harm to the consumers. And these unwanted materials are added to increase the quantity. But while doing so, the quality of the material, the food item is degraded. So this is not a good idea, right? But people, to make more money, do add adulterants, unwanted material, to the food item. Ma'am, next slide. So in India, children, there is an authority, a government organization, which is known as FSSAI, Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, that regulates, that monitors the adulterants that are added to the food items. It is this organization, this authority of India, is responsible for monitoring that no such activity is done, no adulterants are added to the food items, right? So they have designed some activities which you can do it at your home. Or I should say, there are some tests which are designed by FSSAI to identify whether the food item is adulterated or not. So here I have taken up 3 food items which are commonly available at home. You might have children known about the adulterants earlier also, like very simple one, very common one, like the milkman adds water to the milk just to increase the quality. But while doing this procedure, what happens? the quantity of the milk is degraded because the many nutrients get dissolved and they get diluted. So it is not a good idea. So there are various ways by which you can test the quality of the food. Today I have taken up 3 food items. The first food item that we are going to test is, ma'am, next slide, coffee powder. So in the coffee powder, see, children, if you can see my screen, you can see my video, what you have to do is, if you have a coffee powder, like you had listed in the requirement list, children, here you please don't worry if you don't have any of the materials. You may just listen carefully, note it down, and do it later on. If coffee is not available at your home right now, just look at me. Look at the procedure, what you have to do. Just take a glass full of water, normal plain water, and what you have to do is add a spoon, half a spoon or say spoonful of coffee to it. So let me add coffee powder to it, any coffee. You have to take coffee powder to it. I've added some coffee to it, and you can see the screen. See, if your coffee is adulterated, what will happen? The adulterations which are there, the adulterants which are there, which will settle at the bottom. If you get a material that is settled at the bottom, then the coffee is adulterated. And what is the adulterant added to it? It might be a clay or some earthen material, or some soil-like material is added to it, and that is how it will settle at the bottom. So all of you, just try, add some coffee to the water. See, mine one is adulterated. You leave it.
Yashu, aa
you may leave it aside for some time. I can see many of you all doing it. Pavni, Aditi, and others also. Adhyan is also doing. Show me the screen on the screen, Adhyan. Yeah. Now leave it for some time. Leave it for some time. Leave it aside for some time. If you see it is settling at the bottom, then the coffee is adulterated. If you can see the screen, children, on the screen, the testing method is shown, and you see the pure one, the marked, which is in green color, pure one. You see the coffee is floating at the top, whereas in the adulterated, it is settled at the bottom. Sometimes even the manufacturers, sometimes to degrade the quality, also add some coloring material. Therefore, you may see some color dissolved in water, right? So if you have done this, we may proceed with the next food item. That is how you can identify whether the coffee is adulterated or unadulterated. Ma'am, we can see the next slide now. Now this is a common test used for identifying whether the salt available at your home is adulterated iodized salt or unadulterated. For this, what you have to do is, children, take, as in the requirement it was mentioned, take a cut potato, normal, raw potato. I hope you have taken raw, it was mentioned raw. Now what you have to do is, put some salt to it, right? Put some salt to it, add some salt to it, and add some lemon juice on it. Add some lemon juice to it. Right. Now show me, is there any color change? Is there any color change to it? See, mine one is not adulterated. I'm happy. My coffee was adulterated, but my salt is unadulterated. Has anyone found salt which has changed the color to blue, dark blue, or bluish black? Yeah, Adil, mine also, not adulterated. Gitika, how about yours? Okay, Nitika also, it is unadulterated. I can see many of you all, and I hope nobody has found the salt adulterated. So, in case, children, your food is, the salt is unadulterated, be happy. Yeah? All of you, I can see smiling faces. Ishita is smiling. Her salt is not adulterated. Very nice. I can see many of you all have even messaged that mine is not adulterated. So be happy. You are consuming unadulterated salt. And you know, children, salt is a very basic need of your diet. It contains iodine, and iodine is required for maintaining the metabolism of the body, as it is helpful in secretion of some hormones of thyroid, and it maintains the balance of fats, carbohydrates, and proteins in your body. So it is a basic diet. You might have heard doctors saying to consume iodized salt because it is a very important mineral present in your required by your body, right? Okay, so if you have done with this, we'll move on to the third food item that we have taken. And the third food item that we have taken is asafoetida. Asafoetida is commonly known as hing and is a very well-known spice used in our diet. It gives you a very nice fragrance. And you know, children, in other countries, although in India it is very much liked and added to our diet, in other countries, because of its strong, very strong smell, if you know, if you have, if your parents use it in the food, you might have observed it gives you a very strong smell. Because it has a very strong smell, in other countries it is also known as devil's dung because of the strong smell it has. So hing, and you know, children, it is quite expensive also. It is obtained from the resins of some plants, some specific plant, as a plant. From the resins it is obtained, and because it is a long, very long procedure to obtain this asafoetida, there are a lot of cases where this asafoetida is found adulterated with unwanted heme, unwanted material. Sorry, unwanted material, unwanted resins. So to test this, you will take a glass of water. Say if you have lukewarm water, take lukewarm water. If not, then you can also take plain water. I prefer lukewarm water. The result will be better. So what you'll do is you'll add a half tablespoon or say 1 tablespoon of hing to it, right? And just observe. If it is adulterated, the adulterated one will be settling at the bottom. The unwanted materials will be settling at the bottom. The adulterated resins, you will see, will settle at the bottom. No need to stir it, just add and leave it. So I find that this one, yeah, this asafoetida of mine is adulterated. Yeah, I did not get the clear solution. I hope you have found yours as unadulterated. Have you done it? I can see most of you have done it. Okay, there is one more test, children. You can also, ma'am, please show the second slide. There's one more test by which you can detect presence of foreign resins in asafoetida. I did not show this, I did not demonstrate because here you need a flame and all. So you may do it later on in presence of your parents. You take a spoonful of asafoetida and burn it. If it catches fire like camphor, if it burns like a, if it, see on the screen, if you can see on the green picture that is marked pure, if you find this asafoetida burning like a camphor catching flame, then it is not adulterated. And if it burns and gives you ash or blackish material, then it is adulterated. All right, children. So these were the 3 tests I plan to show you. There are various other methods. If you want, I'll share you later on to test food materials such as chili powder. You find adulterated with brick powder. You find turmeric adulterated with food colors. And as we commonly know, milk adulterated with sometimes starch also, water, and many other things are there. So adulterated food is not good for your health because unwanted materials, say like the coffee, we took the example, there was earthy material in it, and if you consume that, there will be harm. You may suffer from some infection, or you might catch some disease also with that. So it is advisable not to consume adulterated food, and you can check by doing these tests. For other food materials, we'll share the procedure for it. Now my part is over. I would like Pooja ma'am to take over and show her the activities through demonstration. Thank you so much, children.
Thank you, Pushpa ma'am.
Yeah.
Hello everyone. Good afternoon, respected Pavitra ma'am, respected Shiva ma'am, and all my colleagues. And good afternoon to all my children. Today we are going to do something interesting. We are going to play as detective, and we'll find out whether this substance is acid or base. And we'll have an agent who will be helping us, that will be telling us that this particular substance is acid and this particular substance is base. First of all, you need to understand, like 8th standard children already knows that what is acid and what is base. But for 6th and 7th standard, you need to have an idea what are acids and what are bases. For that, you can just read this. I'll be helping you out. Okay. Acids, actually, the substances which are sour in taste are acid. Okay. The substances which are sour in taste are acids. Bases are the substances which are bitter in taste. Okay. If you taste a substance, if it is bitter, we'll say it is base. And if it is sour, we'll say it is acid. Okay. Now, how we can't taste each and every substance because there might be some dangerous substance too. Yeah. So we can't taste it, but there are some agents which help us to tell whether this particular substance is acid or base. We call them indicators. And how they indicate us that this particular substance is acid or this is base, they change their color. And we human, we all are capable in noticing color. Yeah, we like beautiful colors and all. Okay. So if a substance, this indicator change the color, we'll say this is a particular acid and this is base on the base of color. Okay. So here at home, we have a very brilliant indicator, and that is turmeric powder. Okay. So we have turmeric powder. As you all know, this turmeric powder is acting like a hero in COVID situation also. Yes. According to the Arogya Setu app, if you consume it with fat, it will decrease the chances of COVID. And in this experiment also, it's helping us. So what it's going to do is, in presence of acid, this turmeric powder will remain same. That is, if a substance is acid, and if you put this turmeric powder in that particular substance, the color of turmeric powder will be yellow. It won't change. Yes. But in the case of base, it will change into red color. Okay. So let's start our investigation. Okay. So our first material is lemon juice. I have taken small amount of lemon juice. Okay. And we'll put a pinch of turmeric powder. You all can perform this activity with me. Yes, come on. Let's find out whether it is acidic in nature or basic in nature. So we'll put this turmeric powder in lemon juice. Give it a shake. Yes. Can you see any change in color? Please try it and tell me, is there any change in color? For me, it is still yellow. No change in color. So yes, I'll go with acid. So this lemon juice, turmeric powder told us, ma'am, this is your acid because it's not changing color. Yes, it can't change my color. Done? Now let's move on to our second substance. Yes, very good. Your all lemon juices are acid. That is, yes, it is a fact that lemon juice are acidic in nature. Okay. Yes, you can taste the lemon juice and you all know it is sour taste. Yes, because it is not dangerous and it is good for your health too. Not after adding turmeric, of course. Now the second material is tomato juice. We have taken a little tomato juice. Okay, please observe its color. It's already a bit red. So there will be a bit difficulty to find out. So please observe your tomato juice carefully and see any change in color after adding turmeric powder. So let's take the help of our agent. Yes, turmeric, please help us to tell whether it is acidic in nature or basic in nature. And here go a little turmeric. Give it a little shake. Yes, come on everyone. For me, it is still the same red. Nothing changed. Jyoti, you have requested it to repeat it. I'll just help you with this. Okay. We have taken turmeric. We have taken tomato juice and we are finding out whether it is acid or base. Turmeric is helping us in that. Okay. Turmeric, if it changes color, that is, it turns from yellow to red, it means it is a base. Okay, the substance is a base. And if doesn't change its color, then it is acid. So we have put this turmeric powder in tomato juice and there is no change in my tomato juice. So I'm saying mine is acidic. Okay, and yeah, it's acidic in nature. Okay, tomato contains acid. It's fine. Okay, next is water, plain water. You can either use tap water or you can use RO water. It won't make any much difference. Okay, so let's take the help of our agent. Yes, turmeric, please help us. Salt is neutral. Salt doesn't fall in the category of acid nor in the base. Okay, so we are not talking about salt right now. Okay, we have just few cases to solve, not every case. This detective can't solve all the cases at once. We have very few chosen cases. Okay, now let's take the help of turmeric powder and give it a shake. What's the color? I hope for you also it is still yellow. So our water actually is neither acidic nor basic. Water is a neutral substance. Okay, it is neither acid nor base. Okay, okay, we are done with 3 cases and what we found is your lemon juice was acidic in nature, your tomato juice was again acidic in nature, and your plain water is neutral. Okay, I'm telling you this. Turmeric just told us that this is not base. Okay, now let's take a little baking soda. So we have baking soda with us. I hope you all can see this is baking soda, white in color. Beta, how and all these things will go into the detail in the classes. Okay, during the experiment, we can just go through. We are just finding out, our aim is to find out whether it is acid or base. That's it. Okay. Okay. For this baking soda, you need little water. So let's add few drops of water in it. I have a very fancy glass of water. So let's add Few water. Okay. Okay. We have water. We have made a solution of this baking soda. Yes. Now again, we are taking the help of our agent. Please help us to find out whether it is acidic or basic. And let's stir it and just see the results. Okay. And if you are doing the experiments, you will be amazed that the color of, I'll show you my solution. The color of turmeric powder has changed to red. I'll show you. Yes. Can you see this? This is not yellow. If you can see, this is not yellow. If you want, I can just show you by rotating my camera. It's not yellow. It's red in color. Okay. You can compare the color of this turmeric powder, that is yellow, and this is red. So we confirm that this turmeric powder is telling us that your baking soda is definitely a base. It's not an acid. Done? Yes, please do everyone and confirm it. Yes, your baking soda is also base. Please confirm it. It's a beautiful red, if you can see. Yes, base. Yashika, you have to take baking soda and then you have to add a little water to make a solution of it, and then you have to put turmeric powder. Yes, there is a difference between baking soda and baking powder. Okay, actually baking soda simply is a base, that is sodium bicarbonate base. Baking powder actually contain a little acid also. Okay, baking powder, while making baking powder, we put tartaric acid in it. That's a whole new concept, but we are happy to find out the result of our case. Now, the last one is that we are using in this situation a lot, that is our soap. Yes, so I have a small piece of soap here. Okay, I'll take it in my hand so it will be better. Yes, I have soap. Now, I'll put a few drops to make it a bit wet so that turmeric powder can dissolve in it. I have put a little water on it. Let's ask turmeric powder. Yes, please help us to find out whether it is acid or base. So here is the turmeric powder. Give it a little rub. Okay, rub it, everyone. Yes. Keep rubbing in it and you will see a very beautiful change in color. Yes, yes, very good, Piyush. See, can you see a little change? It converted into a bit red. Yes, and as Pushpa ma'am told us, there are adulterants in our turmeric powder also. So, see, what you have to do? You have to take soap, a piece of soap, or you have soap, whatever way you are comfortable with. Put a few drops of water on it. And now put a pinch of turmeric on it and mix it well. And just see the change in color. And if you want to compare, I need more water. So I'm putting more water because it's dry. Yeah. And if you compare it, you will see there is a red color. See, can you see it on my tissue? This is the red color coming out of the soap. See, can you see? This is the red color coming out of the soap. I have just wiped it with the tissue. Yes, it is red. Definitely it's not yellow in color. I hope you all can see it. I just wiped my soap with it. I hope you all can see. Okay. So this is a base. Soap is basic in nature. So what is the conclusion? Our turmeric powder, that is our great agent, we have to pay for this. Yeah, it concluded that, I'm just showing you my result. This was tomato juice, no change in color, which means it is acidic in nature. This was my plain water, no change in color, which means it is acidic in nature. This was my lemon juice. Now, yellow, orange is fine, beta. If it is orange, it indicates it is base. Okay, it is my lemon juice, no change in color. So we conclude that it is acidic in nature. This is my baking soda. Can you see this red things? Which says that this is basic in nature, and this is my soap having some red stains on it, which indicate it is red in color. See, this is basic in nature. See, it can also happen that your soap doesn't change the color of turmeric powder. It can also be a case. In that case, if you will go into the detail of the ingredient of your soap, they have added something to make it neutral, which is safe for our body. Okay, if you have seen few advertisement regarding this, that this soap is neutral, it won't harm my body, that is, they have added a bit acid and neutralize the salt. I hope you understand what happened in acids and bases, and how turmeric helped us to find out. Yes, was it clear? Okay, let's move on to the next activity. Next activity is about combustion. Okay, actually in combustion we need three things. What do you mean by combustion? Burning anything is combustion. Okay, for combustion you need three necessary things. If there is even a single thing missing, the fire will not take place. Okay, the burning will not take place. So you need three very necessary things for combustion. I'll show you what are all those things. Okay, so see, conditions necessary for combustion. The first thing you need for combustion is simple burning, nothing new. Okay, the first thing is combustible material. That is, any material which catches fire is combustible material. Here our combustible material will be this paper cup. Okay, second one is supporter of combustion. There should be something which supports combustion, and oxygen is that thing, and we are surrounded by air, and we all are sure that we are surrounded by oxygen too. So oxygen supports burning. Okay, so we need any material which burns. Second, we need something which helps that material to burn, that is oxygen. And third one is attainment of ignition temperature. That is, anything can't burn itself. Either if this cup is here and we have oxygen also, but still this cup is not burning because this cup hasn't attained the ignition temperature. And what is ignition temperature? Ignition temperature is the minimum temperature at which a thing starts burning. Okay, so students, there's no need to perform all the experiments which I'm doing right now, because they involve some fire and everything. Those which I indicate you, please perform those experiments. Okay, it's fine if you have small paper cup, it's great. I didn't find small one, that's why I'm suffering with the big one. Okay, if you have small one, then it's great. So see, this is a paper cup made up of paper, and you all know paper can burn. Paper is a combustible material. Anything which can burn is a combustible material. Yes, you all know that. Okay, if I burn this paper cup, you all know that it will catch fire. Yes, is there anyone who has doubt on that? Yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am, I don't think so that it will catch fire if you burn it. I don't think anyone is there. So I light a candle. Okay, so yes, here is a candle. You can also perform this activity. You can light a candle, and please ask your parents to be with you. If there is anyone near you, it will be better. Okay, and if there is no one, then please you can just watch it. Okay, there is a paper cup and this is a candle. If I burn it, definitely this is going to burn. Okay, why it will burn? It's a combustible material. Moreover, there is oxygen. Apart from that, when I burn it, the temperature of this cup will increase, and at a particular temperature it will attain its ignition temperature. Okay, so it will burn. Now I don't want it to burn because I hate fire, so I don't want it to burn. So I have a trick. What I will do, I will pour some water in this cup. So let's pour some water in this cup. Everyone, pour some water. Half cup water is fine. Yes, you can pour water in this cup. Okay, now if I try to burn it, you please don't do it, just watch me first. If I try to burn it, you will see this cup is not catching fire. See, can you see? I'm trying to burning it, but it is not catching fire. It has gotten black, but it is not catching fire. Catching fire is a different thing. It got black due to the smoke releasing from the flame. That's a different thing, okay? It is not catching fire. So what's happening here? Otherwise, it should have. Yes, if it would be empty, it would be burning in my hands. And I'll be escaping from that fire. Yeah, you all agree? So what's happening here is, as I'm trying to burn this cup, the water is absorbing all the heat and is not allowing this cup to reach its ignition temperature. I hope it is clear. When I'm trying to burn it, please be careful and ask your parents to be with you, okay, if you are doing it. Yes, if you are burning it, it's not catching fire because the water is taking all the heat which I am supplying via candle. It's taking all the heats and is not allowing this cup to reach its ignition temperature. I hope it is clear. So see, still it is a paper and we removed one necessary condition, that is ignition temperature. It's a paper cup, that is, it is a combustible substance. We had air, that is oxygen also, yes, but we removed third thing, that is ignition temperature. We are not allowing this paper cup to reach its ignition temperature. Yes, I'm repeating it. What we have done, we have taken a paper cup, we pour some water in it, and we are trying to burn it, but it's not burning because this water is taking all the heat out of it and is not allowing this paper cup to reach its ignition temperature. I hope it is clear. Yes. Now let's proceed to our final experiment. That is, you all know that carbon dioxide doesn't support burning. Yes, you all know. Bhumi, I'll tell you, I have repeated it twice actually. Okay, actually water is absorbing the heat and is not allowing the paper cup to burn. So we are proceeding with the final experiment. That is, you all know. Okay, this attainment of temperature. We have one more interesting experiment, but I don't want you to perform it. Only I'm performing it because you might spoil your floor and your mother can get mad at you. So we are avoiding it. Okay, so we have water. I'm performing this for you. So you please watch. We have water. Okay. Okay. Yeah, now you can see water in a plastic cup. Yes. You all know this plastic will melt. If I fire it, it will melt. If I bring this candle near to this cup, it will melt. You are strictly prohibited from this experiment. So you are not allowed to do this. Just watch what happens. I am burning it. Okay. I am burning this plastic cup. So please see what is happening. Just see. I want you to see what's happening. And you don't worry, your teacher is safe. I have taken all the precautions. So you just see what's happening. And please don't do this experiment at home. Okay. When you will be of my age, definitely you can do it, but not now. See, it's an amazing experiment. If you see it carefully, let the fire goes. If you see it carefully, the upper part of the plastic cup burned completely, but the part which was containing water, I'll show you properly. The part which was containing water didn't burn. Yes, you can see. Why? Again, this water was taking heat and didn't allow this plastic cup to reach its ignition temperature. I hope you all enjoyed this experiment. Yes, you're not allowed to do it. Okay. So what happened? See, this is my cup. I have spoiled it. Yes. The upper part got burned because there was no one to take its temperature. But the lower part, if you observe carefully, the lower part is in my hand. And see, now my cup is also small, like yours. Yes? Yes, you all can see? So what happened? This water took all the heat and didn't allow this plastic cup to reach its ignition temperature. Yes, it was interesting. Yes, ma'am, because it is very nice. Yes, there was a new thing to know. Okay, now let's proceed to the last experiment. We'll do something with ENO. Okay, take a plastic cup. Why I'm taking plastic cup? So that it's visible to you. It didn't happen with the paper cup because I was heating the paper cup from the bottom. So water was at the bottom. This cup, I started from the top. Okay, you can at this age, you can't do this at this age. But yes, if you will do that with paper cup, the same result will be there. Okay, I have fixed a candle in the cup. Yes, is it clear? Okay, now what I have to do, I have to pour some water. All chemistry practicals are related to fire today. Chemistry is on fire. Yeah. So we poured some water. Okay, I need more water. So yeah, we have more water. So I have poured it with water. You all know in your society or in your school or in your lab, if you see, you can see there are a few cylinders, fire extinguisher. Yes, most of them contains carbon dioxide gas because carbon dioxide does not allow fire to continue. Okay, it cut off the supply of oxygen actually. So it take out unnecessary in that condition, that is oxygen, to stop the fire. This is what carbon dioxide do. So I have half a pouch of ENO. Okay, it's lemon flavor. We don't want any flavor because we are not going to drink it. So let's see what happens. I'm telling you, when you add this ENO to water, carbon dioxide gas is released. Okay, so let's do it. What happens? And you just focus on what happens to this flame. Okay, as you know, carbon dioxide gas is releasing. So we'll just see what happens to the flame. I have just this half pouch, so hopefully it will work. So let's see. You all can do this with the help of your parents. Okay, so let's see. So I have poured this, and this carbon dioxide is releasing. I have a little more. Maybe my candle is a bit big, so that's why it's not happening. This carbon dioxide gas actually extinguish the fire when it is released in a large amount. I have half packet also. I tried in the morning, but I couldn't find it. But what happens normally is this carbon dioxide release and it makes the fire go. Okay, it cut off the supply of oxygen. Here I told you I have just half pouch of so it's fine. But you all should know that when the carbon dioxide release, it cut the supply of oxygen and this candle should go off. This didn't work. I need a full pouch. I needed a full pouch, so I'm doing it. Okay, I hope you like the chemistry experiments. Yes. No, don't put directly on flame. No, just follow. While you are doing some experiment, you should follow the instruction very well. Okay, so please avoid such things. Yes, I hope you all enjoyed it and learned a lot, and it was a pleasure to show you this thing in this situation, and I am very happy to teach you what I have done. Okay, so now we'll move over to Guli ma'am. Thanks everyone.
Good afternoon, Shiva ma'am. Good afternoon, respected principal ma'am. And good afternoon, dear children. So today we will be doing an experiment based on atmospheric pressure, right? But before that, let us understand what atmospheric pressure is. Okay? So before understanding this term atmospheric pressure, let us first understand what atmosphere is. We all know that there is a blanket of air around us, right? And there's huge column of air above us also. So this blanket of air around us is called the atmosphere. And this air exerts pressure on us as well. And this pressure which is exerted by this column of air is called the atmospheric pressure. Okay? But the point comes that if such a huge amount of atmospheric pressure is there, why are we not feeling it? We are not feeling any pressure on us. The reason is that our body fluids, they are actually balancing that atmospheric pressure. And this is the reason we are not feeling it. Okay? So first we'll be doing an experiment based on that. I've simply taken a bowl. I hope you all can see it. Okay? And I've taken water. Actually, I've added some color into it so that you can see the rise in the water level. You know, I've added this simple poster color into it. Okay? So you can also do that, or any food color into it. Fine? So what I have done is, I've taken this colored water and I've placed it in this beaker. Okay? Now, you can add any color, children. If you don't have any color, don't add color. I have just added color so that you can see the rise in the water level. That's why. It's a simple poster color. Okay? Now, I have taken this tea light candle. You can take any candle. Just place it in between this. Okay? I'll add some more water into it. Fine? Now, with the help of your parents, please light this candle. I'm lighting this candle. Okay. All of you have seen? Any candle would work better, any candle. Okay. Now I've taken another glass. Wait. Now I've taken another glass and I place it over this candle. Now children, can you see this rise in water level? Can you all see this? Yes, yes. The whole water, it actually comes into the glass. Yes. Can you all see this? Yes, most of you are able to do that. Okay. Now children, this is not a magic actually. Okay. There is a reason behind it. You know what? When this candle was burning, okay, the air which was surrounding this candle, it got warmed up, due to which it expanded. When I placed this glass over it, you know, it consumed this candle, it consumed the oxygen into it. Whatever oxygen was there inside the glass, it consumed it. Okay. Once it was consumed, it got extinguished. After that, what was happened, beta? The air around this candle, it got cooled. Once it got cooled, you know what happened? Air on cooling, it contracts. Okay. Once it got contracted, you know, it obviously tried to consume as much space as it can. Now, it somehow, there was a kind of partial vacuum inside it. Okay. Now, the air outside, it was having that higher pressure. The air inside, you know, there is less pressure inside this glass. And so, the water level, in order to compensate the difference in the air pressure, it moved from outside to inside. I hope all of you can see it clearly. Yes? Were you all able to do this? Yes, yes. Okay. So this is not a magic beta, but actually there is a logic behind it. Okay. So there's one more experiment, children, which I'll show you related to air pressure. Okay. Now, for this, now, children, I've taken this glass. Okay, this is again an empty glass which I've taken. Fine. Now I fill it with water. Let it settle down. Okay, fill it nicely. Let it settle down. Yes. Now I'm going to take this cardboard. Okay. I place it on it. Fine. Now, what I do, I try to take it and invert it. Look, you can see, children, this cardboard didn't move. Now, do you understand the logic behind this as well? This is again not a magic, children. There's a logic behind it. You know, I told you in the beginning, there's huge atmospheric pressure around us. Okay. Now, when I inverted this water, you know, the weight of water inside this glass was less than the atmospheric pressure around us. And this is the reason that this cardboard didn't fall, even though I inverted it. Okay. And children, you know, we have this huge atmospheric pressure around us, but we are not feeling it for the reason our body fluids are actually balancing that atmospheric pressure. But yes, definitely when we climb up the altitudes, we feel that atmospheric pressure. Sometimes, you know, people, they suffer from nose bleeding. You find the phenomena like if you're carrying a packet of chips, you know, it gets inflated for the reason that the pressure outside is less. The pressure inside is more. And this is the reason that, you know, sometimes the people who are suffering from high BP, they feel uncomfortable at high altitudes. You know, sometimes some people also suffer from nose bleeding. It is because of the change in the atmospheric pressure at higher altitudes. Okay, now we're done with this experiment. Now I'll tell you one more experiment, children. Again, it is not a magic, but again, there is a logic behind it. This experiment is related to electrostatic. Okay, force of attraction. Now, for this, children, what is electrostatic? Static charge. Now, I think you all must have, you know, studied about charges. Okay. So, what is a static charge? Static charge is which stays on the object, which does not move. I've taken very, very simple objects for these kind of this experiment. I've taken the simple straw. Okay. This plastic bottle I've taken, and this cute little teddy bear. Fine. The reason behind taking this teddy bear is because it is having fur. When I'm going to rub the straw with this teddy bear, it's going to get charged. Okay. So, children, are you all ready? Are you all ready, children? Yes. So, take the straw. Okay. You can take anything which has fur. Yeah. Basically, we need to charge this. Okay. So, now I've taken this teddy bear and I'm going to rub it hard. With this teddy bear, I've rubbed this. Now, children, I'm not touching, I'm actually bringing my finger to see. Can you see this moving? I'm not touching it, it is just moving. Okay. Done? So children, what was the logic behind this experiment? This is actually based on static charge. Okay, yes, Piyush is able to do this. Now, children, when I rubbed the straw, you know, with the help of a fur, actually a kind of negative. You want me to repeat? Okay, fine, I'll repeat. Don't worry. I will repeat. Okay. Again, children, I've taken this teddy bear. I'm rubbing it. And now Yes. So can you see the magic? But it actually has a logic behind it, children. You know what happens? Now this is actually an electrostatic, force of attraction which is happening over here. This straw, when I rubbed it, with the fur, it actually developed a negative charge, right? Now, after that, when I brought my fingers near it, it actually induced an opposite charge on it. And as you know that opposite charges, they get attracted. So it gets attracted towards my finger and accordingly it moves. And this is how it spins. Okay. Done? So children, in today's physics session, we learned about two things. We learned about the electrostatic force of attraction and the static charges. And we also learned about the atmospheric pressure. Related to that, we did two experiments. One was this one with the candle and the other one was with this. Okay. Now children, one natural phenomena related to the first experiment, which I did this. I want to relate, do you know about the wind currents? Yes, do you know about the wind currents? Have you started it? Children, in this experiment which we did, okay, there was atmospheric pressure which was playing a role. Then there was also, air difference, pressure and air pressure, difference in air pressure which was playing a role. And this is why the winds also blow. In our environment, that our earth, it's actually a geoid shape, and the equator, it gets heated up, more than the poles. So when the equator gets heated up, the air which is in contact with the equator, it gets warm. Somehow a low pressure area is created over there. At the polar region, okay, the wind is cooler, and there a high pressure region is created. Okay, so the winds, they start moving from a high pressure region to low pressure region, and that is how the winds move. In this case also, we can see the pressure difference, children. When this candle inside, it was burning, the air inside, it got expanded, soon it got extinguished, and inside there was a low pressure region, outside there was a high pressure region. So the water, it moved from outside to inside, right? Right, children? So now with this, today we conclude. So I move on to Himani ma'am now.
Pushpa ma'am is here.
Children, I hope you all enjoyed and you all learned a lot from today's session. Now I would like you all to share your feedback. See, children, you can write down your feedback and share it with your class teachers. Or if you want to share something now, you want to say something now. So you can just raise your hand and we may take up. Okay, Piyush, I would like you to speak. You, Piyush Yadav from 7th A class. And we would like to hear from you, Piyush.
Ma'am, it was a very good experience. Ma'am, I came to learn about many things.
All right. I hope you enjoyed. All
Yes,
right,
ma'am.
children, any query you have? Any questions, children? If you have any question, you may raise your hand. We'll unmute you. Okay, children. So thank you so much. Now I would